Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to my respected lecturer, Mr. Vijayan, and to all my fellow friends. My name is Nur Inshirah binti Kamal Shabari. Today, I am honored to share with you my reflective analysis for task 3 of TSLB3363 Reflective Skills and Practice. Before that, I want to start with a question. Is teaching an art that we are born with or a science that we must study? John Dewey, 1993, argued that we do not learn from experience, but we learn from reflecting on experience. If we simply do without the thinking, we are just going through the motions. We are not growing, we are just repeating. As a pre-service teacher, we often hear that experience is the best teacher. But is it? Today, I want to explore that it isn't the doing that matters, but it is the thinking about the doing. In this presentation, I will walk you through a structured reflection of an ESL lesson by Teacher Val, a male teacher teaching grade 4 reading, and relate his methods to my own 3-month journey during my first practicum at SJKC Aichun 2. My goal today is to answer a fundamental question. How can we use specific pedagogical maxims and reflective models to transform a trial and error classroom into a space of high quality education? Before we dive into the classroom, we must define our framework. Donald Schoen, 1983, described reflective practitioners as professionals who constantly involve in a cycle of thinking about what they are doing, while they are doing it, and after it is done. For this analysis, I have chosen the Gibbs Reflective Cycle, 1988. I personally prefer this model because it is incredibly structured. It forces us to navigate through 6 distinct stages. The first one is description, second one is feelings, the third is evaluation, fourth analysis, fifth conclusion, and finally action plan. By using Gibbs' reflective cycle, we can bridge the gap between maxims of language teaching. Let's walk through the 6 stages of Gibbs' reflective cycle by reflecting on Teacher Val's lesson. The first stage is the description. In the description phase, we look at the what. Teacher Val didn't just walk in and open a book, but instead, he created a multi-model ecosystem. He used a helper system to delegate authority, and he also utilized a star-based reward chart for motivation. And he also used 3D visual aids like the digital storybook that he created on his own. In the digital storybook, he includes real-life footage of natural disasters such as the thunderstorms, the tsunami, the hurricane, and many more. Therefore, the lesson was symphony of vocabulary drills, comparative reading, and high-energy games. Now, we move to stage 2, which is feelings. Watching him, my initial feeling was in awe. I was amused. His energy was consistent, and his connection with his students felt very real and harmony. However, I also felt a deep sense of intimidation. I keep thinking, I thought about my 32 students of ISGKC Asian 2. I asked myself, can I handle these kids with this level of energy, or I might lose myself in the classroom? It was a moment of vulnerability, acknowledging that expert teaching looks easy, but it is incredibly demanding. The third stage is evaluation. Evaluation asks what's good and what's bad. The good was the effective atmosphere. The students were fearless because Teacher Val made the classroom safe and inclusive. The bad, or rather the challenging, was the velocity. In my opinion, Teacher Val's lesson moved so fast that I worried for the weak students. Did they keep up? Did they able to catch up? Or did they just swept along with the high achievers? The fourth stage is analysis. In analysis, we ask why. Why did the lesson work? The lesson worked because Teacher Val understood the psychological versus logical balance. Logically, the syllabus says teach natural disaster. Psychologically, a 10-year-old says make it fun or I'll stop listening. By using L1 Mandarin words for magma, he prioritized conceptual understanding over rigid English-only rules. He was being pragmatic. The fifth stage is conclusion. My conclusion from watching the Teacher Val video is engagement is the precursor of learning. You cannot teach reading comprehension if the students are not emotionally in the room with you. Teacher Val proved that teacher's persona is just as important as the lesson plan. The sixth stage is action plan. If I were to teach this lesson, my action plan would be differentiated pacing. I would implement a pause points where students turn to a partner to explain a concept in their own words. This ensures that the fast pace of the lesson do not leave the deep thinkers behind. To understand the DNA of this lesson, we must understand the 6 maxims of teaching. Jack Richards, 1996, described these maxims as the internal compass that guide a teacher's split-second decisions. Now, let's deconstruct how Teacher Val applied this maxim to ensure that his grade 4 learners did not just attend the lesson but also acquire the language. First, the maxim of planning. This is about the teacher's ability to create a clear and logic structure. Teacher Val demonstrated what we call signposted instruction. He did not just move from one task to another, he narrated the journey. For example, before the reading even began, he had his star-based reward chart visible and his 3D visual aid. Throughout the video, you will hear him say, Before we start our reading, the elaboration. This isn't just about organization, it is about cognitive offloading. When a teacher signposts, the students do not have to wonder what's next. They can use all their mental energy to focus on the content. It creates a flow state where the lesson feels like a journey rather than a series of random events. Secondly, the maxim of involvement. This is the essence for primary teaching. How do you keep 10 years old kids tuned in? For example, the tornado game. Teacher Val took a static reading definition and turned into physical, kinesthetic, fun activities. Other than that, he also incorporated pop quizzes where students had to stand up and choose A, B, or C for the correct answers. By involving their bodies, he engaged their brains. He understood at this age, attention spans are short. By constantly shifting the mode of involvement from listening to videos to reading aloud to physical games, he ensured that the involvement level remained high even during the more difficult reading tasks. Thirdly, maxim of accuracy. As ESL teachers, we are not just teaching words, we are teaching meanings. For example, Teacher Val was a stickler for precision. When discussing thunderstorms, he paused to clarify that light travels faster than sound. He did not just let the students say the storm is loud. He corrected their scientific facts and their pronunciation of natural disasters. This is crucial. If we allow fluency at the total expense of accuracy, we are doing the students a disservice. Teacher Val showed that an ESL classroom can be scientifically rigorous while remaining linguistically accessible. Number 4, maxim of efficiency. Now, let's talk about maxim of efficiency. This is about managing time to ensure maximum time on task. For example, he used Mandarin translation for complex terms such as magma and hurricane. Some old school method insists on English only, but Teacher Val was efficient. He realized that trying to explain the scientific concept of magma to the grade 4 can leave the class to become confused. Hence, by using 5-second Mandarin translation, he cleared the confusion instantly and moved back to English for the communication part of the lesson. This is efficiency in action. The fifth maxim is maxim of encouragement. This is the humanized element for this teaching. For example, throughout the video, his tone is warm and supportive. He is being very supporting towards his students. His most powerful phrase, in my opinion, would be the "It's okay to make mistakes. We are learning." Other than that, he praised his students constantly, even when they struggle with pronunciation. So this directly aligned with Stephen Krashen's affective filter hypothesis. When a student is scared of being wrong, their filter is high. When their filter is high, no learning will get in. So by encouraging them, making mistakes is okay. It is safe. Tuva lowered that filter. So he built a classroom culture where participation was more important than perfection. Last but not least, the maxim of empowerment. This is about moving from teacher-centered to learner-centered classroom. For example, he gave the students the helper role. He let them lead the star count. He allowed them to choose their own answers during the team challenges. In simple way, he gave the student autonomy in the classroom. So, when you empower the student, you change their identity from passive consumer to an active shareholder. This empowerment builds the confidence they need to eventually use English outside of the classroom. Now, how does this relate to me? I spent 3 months of my first phase of practicum and SGKC I-2. However, my journey started with a wall, a language barrier. In those first few weeks, I couldn't understand my student, and they also could not understand me. It feels like I'm speaking another language and they are speaking another language. I felt lost. I couldn't, because as a teacher, I could not understand their needs, their problems, and they could not follow my instructions as well. But following the maxim of empowerment, I found my bridge. I identified a few students who are fluent in English, and I asked them to become my helper/translator. They become my co-teachers. They will help their friends who are struggling to understand my instructions or who are struggling to complete the activities that I ask them to do. Other than that, when talking about SJKC, we are well known that SJKC is high in facilities. They are more tech reliant. I had hard time to adapt, especially with the technologies there, with the facilities there. I still could not use this smart TV. I still could not navigate how to go here and there, how to find the textbook, how to find the listening audio. Therefore, with the help of my fluent students in English, they help me to navigate and they show me how to correctly use the smart TV. Apart from that, I also ask them to help their friends. In my opinion, this peer teaching is not a shortcut, but it is a PAK 21 in action. My weak students, they learn better from their friends because they can understand each other. As time progressed, I learned how to speak just a little bit of Mandarin. For example, the basic phrases, and I also able to read their emotions through their facial expression, their body language, and many more. And I realized that the maxim of clarity isn't always about the words you speak, but it is about the connection that you build as a teacher and the students. Other than that, my class size. For example, for me, I have 2 classes and each class has 32 students, which is a lot. So in the beginning, my classroom control was out of place. But thankfully, I learned fast from my supervisor and also my mentor teacher. I learn fast and I adapt fast. To ensure the classroom control is good, I always incorporating fun and engaging activities. Right? As we all know, SJKC schools are very tech heavy. They are mostly rely on technology. I decided to go through different path. I want to try something new, which is hands-on learning. So as early as week 1, I already do my teaching aids, which is hands-on learning. I bring to school and I saw my students They love it. They want to, even the weak students are participating in my class, which is an open eye for me. I can see that my students love more hands-on learning compared to technology-based tasks. So they were more involved in the physical activities rather than just looking at the digital screen. It taught me that the maximum of involvement often works best when it's human to human. Last but not least, my entire practicum was a process of trial and error. If I saw my students did not like my approach of teaching, and I did not get discouraged, it becomes my passion to change my approach of teaching to make my students want to learn. So, what is the conclusion here? My reflection taught me that even the most exciting content can fall flat without a careful planning and deep understanding of your learner's needs. As John Dewey, 1993, famously said, "We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience." Thank you very much for your time and attention.